Houston, Texas. Houston spreads across more than 640 square miles. That is larger than the entire land area of Chicago, San Francisco, and Boston combined. It has no formal zoning code. Drive through the city and you'll see apartment towers beside warehouses, strip malls beside schools, refineries near neighborhoods. Then the rain comes. During Hurricane Harvey in 2017, parts of the Houston region recorded over 50 inches of rainfall, with a peak measurement of 60.58 inches in Nederland, Texas. Highways turned into rivers. Subdivisions became lakes. Houston paved over wetlands that once absorbed stormwater. Development expanded into flood-prone land. Concrete replaced natural drainage. This isn't unpredictable weather. It's predictable water with nowhere to go. When your infrastructure floods repeatedly, that's not a disaster. That's design. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix occupies more than 517 square miles, U.S. Census Bureau. It sits in a desert where summer temperatures regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The city's layout is wide, flat, and car-dependent. 6-lane arterial roads stretch for miles in straight lines. Sidewalks sit exposed to direct sun. NASA satellite data has documented strong urban heat island effects in Phoenix, where paved surfaces trap heat long after sunset. At night, the air stays warm because asphalt holds the day's temperature. Cooling bills rise. Outdoor activity disappears. Water is imported from the Colorado River. Shade is minimal. Transit coverage is thin relative to the metro's footprint. This is a city built horizontally in one of the hottest regions in America. Heat is not a surprise here. It is a constant, and the design amplifies it. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville covers roughly 875 square miles, making it the largest city by land area in the contiguous United States. Now picture that size. Neighborhoods are separated by highways, waterways, and vast distances. Downtown sits surrounded by parking lots and low-rise buildings. Density is thin. Public transit struggles because distances are enormous. Walking between destinations is rarely practical. The city consolidated county and municipal government in 1968, expanding its borders outward instead of building inward. You can drive for 20 minutes and still be in Jacksonville. Size alone isn't failure, but size without structure creates isolation. A city that large needs density or strong transit. Jacksonville has neither. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit was built for nearly 1.85 million people in 1950. Today, it has roughly 639,000 residents. That means infrastructure designed for almost 2 million now serves 1/3 of that population. Drive through Detroit and you'll see blocks of vacant lots, streetlights on empty streets, schools built for neighborhoods that no longer exist. Road networks, water pipes, and electrical grids still stretch across the same footprint. But the tax base shrank. Maintenance didn't. The result is visible. Blight, service gaps, long distances between active neighborhoods. Detroit's collapse wasn't just economic. It was spatial. The city remained large while its population vanished. That mismatch is physical, and it's permanent. Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta's metro region is one of the most sprawling in America. The average commute time in the Atlanta metro area exceeds 31 minutes. Highways form loops around the city. I-285 encircles the metro like a concrete belt. Traffic congestion ranks among the worst in the country in multiple transportation studies. MARTA rail lines cover only limited portions of the metro compared to its geographic size. Picture the daily routine. Drivers merge onto 6-lane interstates before sunrise. Brake lights stretch for miles. Exits feed into more multi-lane roads. The region grew outward, not around transit. Office parks sit far from housing. Housing sits far from jobs. Atlanta isn't dense enough for efficient rail, and it's too large for efficient driving. When every trip requires a highway, that's not mobility. That's dependency. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas receives roughly 90% of its water from Lake Mead. In July 2022, Lake Mead fell to 1,041 feet above sea level, its lowest level since it was filled in the 1930s. The city sits in a basin surrounded by desert mountains. Suburbs extend outward in identical beige grids. Summer highs exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit regularly. Grass struggles to survive. Water is imported. Shade is limited. Las Vegas has reduced per capita water use significantly over the past 2 decades, but the physical setting remains unchanged. A fast-growing metropolitan area dependent on a shrinking reservoir. The skyline glows at night, but the supply line runs through one stressed lake. That is structural fragility. St. Louis, Missouri. The city of St. Louis separated from St. Louis County in 1876. Today, St. Louis County contains over 80 separate municipalities, each with its own governance structure. Drive 5 minutes and you cross into a new jurisdiction. Different police departments, different zoning rules, different tax bases. Fragmentation creates inefficiency. Infrastructure overlaps. Coordination slows. Investment disperses. Meanwhile, the city population declined from over 850,000 in 1950 to under 300,000 today. That leaves hollowed neighborhoods and strained municipal budgets. A city divided into dozens of governments doesn't function like one city. It functions like pieces, and pieces struggle to move together. San Bernardino, California. San Bernardino filed for municipal bankruptcy in 2012. The city had expanded through low-density inland sprawl. Development depended heavily on retail sales and property taxes. When the housing market collapsed, revenue collapsed with it. Wide roads, separated land uses, and limited transit options define much of the urban layout. Large distances separate residential neighborhoods from employment centers. Car ownership is not optional. When revenue fell, the city still had to maintain miles of roads, utilities, and services. Bankruptcy wasn't random. It followed spatial expansion without durable economic foundation. Sprawl requires maintenance. Maintenance requires money. When money disappears, the physical footprint remains. None of these cities failed overnight. They expanded beyond their climate, beyond their tax base, beyond their infrastructure limits. Floodplains were paved. Deserts were widened. Reservoirs were stretched. Populations left. Highways multiplied. Bad urban design doesn't look dramatic at first. It looks like longer drives, hotter streets, empty blocks, higher bills. Until one day, the system strains. Which of these cities surprised you the most? Or which one should be next? Let me know in the comments.